Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here, and today I'm going to review the laptop that I think is the best laptop for under $300, and it is the Lenovo IdeaPad 1 with a Ryzen 5 5500 CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, as well as 256 gigs of storage. So why not guys, let's go. Now before starting the video, quick reminder, the computer is now currently at $270, but in fact no, I did not pay $270. I only paid $230 before tax on the Lenovo IdeaPad 1, as you can see with all the specifications. And with the $230 laptop including a Ryzen 5, which is basically on par with an Intel Core i5, as well as 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, it's already an extremely healthy amount, considering that an average laptop for around $230 to $270 would typically have a Celeron or at best a Pentium or i3 with 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of SSD storage, or sometimes even eMMC, which is actually a worse storage standard. First off, let's talk about the processors and GPU. As you can see, this laptop does have an AMD Ryzen 5 5500U 6-core 2.1 gigahertz processor, which is a really healthy processor, especially for a computer which used to cost $420 but now costs only $270. This computer could be turbo boost to 4 gigahertz, and as for the GPU, it has an AMD Radeon Vega 7, which is actually integrated, but is still quite good, especially for a laptop this cheap, which is not geared towards gaming but towards light browsing and stuff. Just like I said, this computer does have 8 gigs of RAM, as well as a 256 gigabyte SSD, which is extremely healthy, given the fact many computers of this price point would have an eMMC rather than an SSD. This computer also has Bluetooth 5.0, which albeit is old compared to Bluetooth 5.3, is still nonetheless quite good, especially at this price point, and is a 14-inch device, so bigger than many cheap laptops at this price point, which is going to be around 13 inches and only costed around $270, just like I showed you guys. And as for the unboxing, you could check out the unboxing in the link down below, because I actually showed this laptop in the best tech for under 200, even though this laptop is not under 200. I just wanted to show you guys this laptop as an honorable mention, because you could get such a great value laptop like this for just a bit over 200 but under 300, and you could get an equivalent laptop like this, albeit with a Celeron processor, for under $200. Now, just like all laptops, this laptop does include a charger, albeit it is only at 65 watts, and it is not USB-C. Instead, it is actually this proprietary cable, which is used on many older laptops and on many cheaper laptops, which is quite fine, especially for charging, and it charges reasonably fast. In fact, I found that I could actually charge from 0 to 100 in about 2 to 2.5 hours, which is quite fast, especially for this price point. And even though I've not tested the battery life yet, from what I read, the battery life is going to be about 10 hours, depending on the usage. However, just like other cheap laptops, this laptop is made using plastic. As you can see, it does have sort of this plasticky feel, and it is actually quite light at around 3 pounds or nearly 1.4 kilograms. And it does look restrained and business-like, unlike many laptops at this price point, which look quite funky, kind of like the HP Stream. And of course, the keyboard is quite nice. Let me type to you guys. Some of the keys could be wobbly. That's due to the price point. That's kind of okay, but it is actually quite intuitive, quite easy to type. However, just like many laptops at this price point, this keyboard does not have a backlight. And one cool quirk about this laptop, let me show you this. Yes, you could technically lay it flat, unlike the MacBook Pro. And here's some ports. As you can see, this is actually the charging port. This is the USB-A port, the HDMI 1.4 port, and this is actually a USB-C. Many earlier iterations of this laptop does not have a USB-C port, and this is actually the headphone jack, just like many laptops, as well as the MacBook Pro. And as you can see, this is actually a micro SD card, as well as another USB-A port. and down here is actually an air intake. As you can see with this 5500U, of course they would require a larger air intake than that of many cheaper processors like the Celeron, Pentium, or Core i3, Ryzen 3, or AMD A4 or A6 or something. Now let's move on to the trackpad. The trackpad does have a share of its goods and bads. Some of the goods are that it could actually move the cursor around the screen quite smoothly, quite well and reliably, and it could even scroll pages reliably. As you can see, this is actually how the page scrolls, and the refresh rate is quite poor at around 60 Hz, as expected for many laptops at this price. As you can see, it does scroll down quite well, but if you want to drag items, it's where it starts to get a bit clunkier, because this trackpad is actually plastic, and dragging files could be unreliable, and there could be some inaccuracies. You could accidentally touch another thing there, or even click on Microsoft Edge and actually load the internet. So it's quite unreliable at some times because of its price point, unlike that of the MacBook, the Lenovo Yoga, and of course the Surface. Things take a different turn when we look at the screen. As you can see, even though it is a Full HD 1920 by 1080 screen, the viewing angles are horrendous. As you can see, you might not be able to see very well with this. You actually do have to put the screen upright in order to see the full content, and the brightness is only 220 nits max, which is quite dim, especially if you're outside. But if you're inside, it's kind of okay, at least for basic usage. However, this screen does have an anti-glare, as I'll show you guys. And as expected, this laptop does not have biometric support, so no Face ID, no Touch ID or anything. Basically no fingerprint or facial recognition scanners, just basic passcodes, which is quite fine, at least for this price point. I don't really expect much. And yeah, this computer also does have a front-facing camera, as you can see. This is actually a 720p webcam, which is not really that good, but still it's kind of okay, especially at this price point. Don't expect so much for the price. However, this computer is quite good for browsing, doing schoolwork and stuff, like as Google Docs and watching YouTube there. As you can see, websites load quite fast. Let's try out Microsoft.com. It depends on the internet actually, but it's kind of okay at least. And why not, let's try Apple. You could actually buy stuff quite well. It's just quite good for like light task and even medium task as well, but not really good for like heavy video processing or programming apps and using it as a server. That would require something more powerful, like for example this, which is the MacBook Pro M1 16-inch. With this computer you can definitely play basic games such as car racing on the internet. As you can see, I'm actually currently racing against some people on the internet, even though I really think I would have lost. As you can see, it does quite well. The integrated Radeon Vega 7 does quite well, especially in terms of light games. And in fact, it does extremely well if you play games like 2048 and stuff, which is just a simple board game. As you can see, the graphics are quite smooth. And even with this integrated graphics, this computer could still play Fortnite, but with reasonable success, because there's actually going to be some lag, because Fortnite is a more intensive game. So why not? Let's see what the gameplay is like. Okay guys, so this is a gameplay of Fortnite Chapter 5. As you can see, there's actually some lag. As you can see, with the Vega 7 integrated graphics instead of dedicated GPU, of course there'll be some lag. But in all, it is quite reasonable. You can still play Fortnite, sort of, but don't really expect to win. Because you might get killed by somebody with high graphics with an RTX 3000 series graphics or something. Let's say somebody with an RTX 3070 GPU could easily crush you in this game. And if they have a better GPU, of course they will definitely crush even more. But as you can see, It's still quite okay for like Fortnite and stuff. And GTA 5 as well. But I'm not sure about GTA 6, which would come out in 2025. But this laptop, however, is quite good in virtualization. You could actually download like Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, all these sort of things like older OSs, but don't expect it to run as a server, managing multiple computers. Of course, this computer does not have the power, and from what I could tell, the speakers could be quite loud, but are quite tinny though, and not as loud as that of the MacBook Pro, of which I'm currently using. And lastly, before I end the video, I just want to mention that this computer does come with Windows 11s. Yes, Windows 11s, which meant you cannot really download apps outside of the Microsoft Store, like Chrome, for example, or really anything outside of the store, including Fortnite and stuff. You do have to download in the store, and also you cannot set your default search engine to something like Google. You have to use Bing and stuff. But you don't have to be in Windows 11s. In fact, you could actually head to System and then switch out of S mode entirely for free. And then it would just switch immediately. But I would recommend that you restart the computer, because I did download Chrome without restarting. And guess what? The computer actually crashed. So basically restarted, and then Chrome works as you should. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos. I absolutely try my best to make this as short as possible and as in-depth, but still, I'm a new YouTuber, so of course my production quality is not going to be great, and I'm currently using my S23 Ultra to actually record, so it's not going to be as great as like a DSLR camera, so why not? I'll see you guys later.